everyone, welcome to the Fortress of Solitude podcast. I'm your host, Sergio Pereira, and I'm joined, as always, by my partner in crime, Lois Kutab. What's happening, dude?
What is up, man? How's it going?
I'm good. I mean, especially because this topic today, I mean, we were talking about this last year, around about the same time. We were getting excited for the Mortal Kombat movie. And then after the Mortal Kombat movie, we were like, when is Mortal Kombat 2 going to be announced? When's the sequel going to be announced? And it's been a while. Yep. I mean, there's been rumors, obviously, that it's going to happen, but it hasn't until now. Like, now it's like official. They just said, look, it's going to production. Jeremy Slater, who is actually the showrunner for Moon Knight, and also the Umbrella Academy. He's also like involved in that.
Nice.
He's going to be the dude writing the script. So I'm super excited for that because I mean, Umbrella Academy, I'm like, it's one of my favorite shows on TV. And also Moon Knight just looks like, it looks really, really sick. So I'm excited to see what he does. Like, I really, really am. But yeah, man, I mean, what do you think about the news? Do you think it's a little bit too late, or like, are you always ready for more Mortal Kombat?
It's never too late. I did temper my expectations because I wouldn't say the reviews initially were too mixed, but they weren't like overwhelming, you know? So I was like trying to set my expectations low that, but I'm really hoping for it. So when the news came out, I was just like, hell yeah, let's go. Because at this point, I think they can really go kind of balls to the wall with it.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of interesting that you mentioned that because the weird thing is, like, obviously it got released and we were like still going through like the different waves of the pandemic, and it didn't do like incredibly well at the box office because I mean, like, a lot of countries started going to lockdown. I mean, I remember with us as well, we were just coming out of one because I think we didn't even get Black Widow here for some time.
No, we didn't.
It arrived like much later because of like the different waves of the pandemic and all that. And the thing, though, with Mortal Kombat was it did really, really well on HBO Max. Like, on streaming, it was like phenomenal. Like, even if you go look at all the charts and stuff, it's like one of the most watched movies like in 2021. So that definitely counted in its favor. But a lot of people were saying, oh no, that, you know, they might be looking at just making like spin-off movies and like a TV show for HBO Max. So there was always that sort of debate. I was like, okay, cool. You know what? I'll wait and see what happens.
Yeah.
But I am excited, man. I am like super happy that they've announced it. And the cool thing is, like, from what I've seen so far, a lot of the original cast members, they've been celebrating the news. So that's always a pretty good sign that they are going to be coming back. I think normally, like, if they didn't get, you know, that contract in the mail that says you're back for, you know, number 2, you wouldn't post shit about it on Twitter. You'd be like, yeah, forget it.
That's interesting.
You're not getting a retweet out of me. So I thought that was like, you know, it's pretty telling. I mean, look, even though the report said that it's unsure of like which sort of, you know, cast members are coming back and all of that, I think it's, you know, it's safe to say I think a lot of the major ones will probably be back. So yeah, I mean, obviously we're going to be chatting about this. We're super excited, and I mean, I am at least, and I know that you are. But
no, I'm psyched.
First of all, man, like, what sort of characters from the first Mortal Kombat movie do you want to see return in the sequel? Like, which are the characters that have to definitely be there?
How many can I choose? Like, is it a top 3 kind of thing, or?
Yeah, I mean, you can. I mean, we're not going to give you a number here, but I mean, you can tell me, all right, cool. I'd like to see, you know, Sonya obviously come back, Cole, you know, Jax, like, you know, whoever you want, basically. Yeah.
Look, number 1 on my list, I got to see Kano back, dude. That man made the movie for me. Like,
but he's dead.
No, he wasn't. He couldn't he come back? I'm pretty sure his eye got messed up, but then, or was he dead?
He's dead. No, he's dead. Sonya killed him. She snapped his neck.
Bro, this is Mortal Kombat. I want Quan Chi to just bring him back.
all right. Okay, cool.
I want him back.
The rules of Mortal Kombat, like, death does not apply here, like the real world.
It never does. No. Okay. In a universe where I can have him back, I want him back. But without him, number 1, I think it's a really tight one between Scorpion. Don't tell me Sub-Zero is dead as well, right?
Yeah, he is. But I mean, look, Sub-Zero, we know that his brother can come back. I mean, his brother will take up the, because in the games, you know, Bihan obviously becomes Noob Saibot, and then his brother takes back. So exactly. It's entirely possible that, you know, it's entirely possible to come back. Scorpion as well. I mean, he's a specter, dude. It's like, he's like a spirit. He can do whatever he wants. It's kind of like a poltergeist in your house, dude. They just come and go.
I was the most psyched to see Scorpion from the beginning of the first movie, and I don't get tired of seeing him. In fact, I wanted to see more than we saw. So I'd say Scorpion's probably my number 1. After that, Liu Kang. I've always been a big Liu Kang fan. I didn't expect him to be as hilarious as he was in the film. You know, like, you always think because he's kind of a straight shooter that he's just going to be bit of a flat character, but I think they did a super good job with him and the dynamic between Kung Lao and him.
No, definitely.
So
And I mean,
he's the other one that I need to see back.
And I think, Ludi Lin especially, he did a fantastic job as Liu Kang. I think he was like, it felt like it was so accurate, like from the game. Like, whoa, man, this dude looks like Liu Kang. He acts like Liu Kang. He fights like Liu Kang. And I thought that was tremendous. Like, the casting was absolutely perfect. That was like one of the best castings. So yeah, I mean, I'm on board, man. Liu Kang, definitely.
I've got one more who it might be kind of controversial because I know this character, people had different opinions, but I feel like I want to see what else they can do with it because, Louis Tan's Cole Young, which was, I think this is the interesting piece is a whole brand new character. It's difficult when you are up against all these legacy characters that have so much context going in to try and like within a short film build up the same amount of importance for this character is a little bit difficult. I don't think they did a bad job at all, but I'd like to see them expand on him a bit more. So to be honest, I would like to see him come back.
I completely agree with you about Cole, actually. Like, the thing is, I know why they included him as a character. Is obviously, he's the audience's eyes. Being introduced to his world and all the characters. And I think that was like the difficult thing, which a lot of people rejected initially because they're like, well, why are you giving us like, some noob called Cole Young when all these other characters in Mortal Kombat that we can explore and we can, feature. And I think that was like the challenge. And I think Cole was an interesting character, but I will suggest something. Since he's obviously got ties to, Scorpion and, Hanzo, he's basically got the whole history. It would make sense, instead of taking Cole Young and, carrying on this sort of like dynamic, actually just make him the brand new Scorpion. Just keep him as a brand new Scorpion. He takes up the mantle and he carries on like that. And I think that allows you to avoid, stuffing in the movie full of characters, because the reality is we are going to need to have a lot more Mortal Kombat characters introduced. There are going to be a lot more characters that are going to come along, and I think that with Cole, if you can transform him into like sort of like a legacy character and essentially become Scorpion, it gives him more credibility as a character, and it'll make the fan base kind of open up a little bit more to like, oh, okay, cool, this is the new Scorpion. Sure, there'll be people that get sense. And I mean, people will be upset. And also, the thing is, from a storyline perspective, it would make sense because if you introduce a brand new Sub-Zero, there should be a brand new Scorpion to go along with it.
Yes. Yeah.
So the legacy thing of like, okay, well, our forefathers were fighting with each other, they had beef, but we're letting it go and we can fight on the same side.
Yes,
because that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, Hanzo's revenge story kind of came full circle, didn't it, in the first one?
Yeah, and I mean, in the games, we've seen how he's partnered up with a brand new Sub-Zero all the time. We've seen how that has actually, changed. That Sub-Zero is actually a good guy, like versus like Bihan, who was, Shang Tsung's like a little aide there in the previous movie, and he was also doing the bidding of Quan Chi in the games. So we kind of know that there's an opportunity to play there. And I mean, look, I think also in terms of other characters, I definitely agree. Liu Kang, I'd love to see more of him. I'd love to see Liu Kang step up and become more of a central sort of character. I found he was a little bit of a periphery in the first movie, but it would be really cool to see him. I definitely want to see Jax back. I want to see Sonya Blade back. In terms of the characters that are dead, I'm okay with it. Like, to be honest, like Melina, I was fine with her. Like, Reptile as well is pretty much, he's gone there. So I'm like also right with that. Yeah. Guys like, even guys like Cabal and, all of those, I'm like, I'm okay with not having them back if we don't necessarily need it, because there are other characters in the game. So I'm cool with that. But now we're going to move on to the next topic. Which characters from the movie don't you want to come back?
Don't I want to come back?
Yeah. Well, you don't want them to come back.
Oh. Man, that's tough. Who don't I want? You know what?
Yeah.
You know what? Is Goro still alive, or did he die as well?
No, Goro's dead, dude. But Goro must stay dead.
You can tell I've seen this film only twice because I just cannot remember. But yeah, I obviously wouldn't want to see him back, just because I think there's so many other like big intimidating characters that can take that spot. There's who's the other character with 4 arms as well? It's there's Mataro as well. There's one is Mataro. Yeah, Mataro's got the half horse.
Yes, Mataro.
cannot remember. Shiva. There we go. So Shiva is a character.
Shiva was another one.
Yeah, could probably take that role. So I'd say, yeah, okay, none like that. You know what? I really did like a lot of, like, I wouldn't say I wouldn't want to see Raiden. I love Raiden. Shang Tsung was cool. Want to see more of him. I don't think he got enough, enough like screen time to really be as messed up and dark as he really is. At least I remember in the 1994, 1995 film, like Shang Tsung was quite menacing. So I want to see a little more of that, I think. But honestly, I can't tell you someone who I don't want to see. What about you?
Well, for me, I definitely think that Goro is done and dusted now. I think it was great having him in the first movie. It was cool. I don't particularly need to see him again. And I mean, what I said to you about in terms of changing up Cole Young, in terms of the character, in terms of making him Scorpion, I'd prefer to see him do that versus carry on as a trajectory of Cole Young that's there. Because I think that with all the new characters going to be introduced, it might actually overshadow. Because look, the thing is, the whole Mortal Kombat universe film universe is kind of fresh now. So you've obviously got all these new versions of characters introduced, and a lot more people would be more receptive towards Cole and all of that. But now you kind of know the characters. Now there's a whole bunch of new characters going to be introduced, and Cole is just going to be there like somebody who's not a Mortal Kombat canon per se. And it's like, do you really want to see that character carrying on? Like, I mean, look, I thought he was an interesting character for, in terms of a storyline, but in terms of what I want to see from Mortal Kombat, I'd love to see him become something more. I'd love to see him become Scorpion, as I said. Like that for me would be like the ultimate thing, to see him become Scorpion in the next movie. And because besides that, I don't think Cole would be necessary otherwise, because they are opening the door to potentially other characters, especially big characters, like characters we haven't seen yet, and that could overshadow Cole completely.
But they set up his story. They set it up. They have to pay it off somehow.
Look, I mean, in a way, it did kind of pay off that he kind of does find out about his heritage. He knows like now suddenly why he's got this, this dragon mark on him, and he understands a bit more about his legacy and about, so I do feel like his arc is complete in the sense that, he can go on to the tournament and he can go on to become a big fighter. But as you said, you got Liu Kang there. And Liu Kang is like, obviously he is pretty much considered like the best fighter in Mortal Kombat. He's always the one that's like winning these tournaments, and dude, like he's just always at the top. And now suddenly you're going to sidestep him a little bit for Cole, and Cole's not even like a Scorpion character. He's just a new character. Like, do you really want to see Cole Young win the Mortal Kombat tournament? I don't think so. That's the sort of thing I'm saying. And also at the same time, considering Cole's role in the first movie, do you really let Cole go to the tournament and not do anything and like let Liu Kang like overtake him? It feels a bit weird unless
to do something big there.
Yeah, unless he becomes, as I said, the next Scorpion, then suddenly like, oh, okay, well, Scorpion is definitely like the MVP of Mortal Kombat, and you can kind of understand, all right, cool, that makes a lot of sense. So I think that, for me, that would make a lot more sense for Cole's arc versus him just carrying on as, Cole Young, the MMA fighter.
Agreed.
I mean, like, it just feels a bit like, it doesn't feel like his arc would get lost, I think. But look, we'll see. I mean, obviously we'll see the characters, but now we need to chat about all the characters we want to see in Mortal Kombat 2.
Oh, and there are so many.
So I'm gonna make this difficult because at the end of the day, like there are nearly 80 characters in the whole Mortal Kombat universe, playable characters throughout the years. So we can name like literally all 80 of them because we all have like favorites. even the flaming one, I can't even remember, like the one that was always on fire, like from one of the games. I can't remember what his name was. I think it was Meat.
Blaze?
It was Blaze or Meat?
Meat was the gross one. Meat was just disgusting. He was just like muscle and like his guts were kind of falling out. He used to pull out his eye. That was Meat.
Okay, then well, we're definitely not going to go for Meat or Blaze here because
I like Meat.
Blaze was the one that was in the background. I remember of those of the stages. Like remember like Mortal Kombat 2 stage
that's Blaze,
on the platform. And it's like this dude that's sitting on fire for like the entire tournament. Like poor fella, like dude, like somebody just like throw some water on him. But so I'm going to make this difficult, and I'm going to say you can only pick 3 new characters that you love to see including the game. And now they can be like they can be the heroes, it can be villains, doesn't matter as long as it's just 3.
Oh, so, no, all right. Whew. Okay, I've got them. I've got my 3. I have been thinking about this for a little while. So let's start off with the goodie. And there are many cool ones to think of. I was gonna say Katana because I don't think she appeared in the first one.
No, it was just her like fans that appeared like in the background as Easter egg. Yeah,
but what I'm actually gonna go for instead is Kenshi. He's the blind dude with the sword and telekinetic powers. He's kind of like Daredevil in Mortal Kombat, and I just feel like there's so many sick ways to use that sword as this like blind swordsman, like cinematic wise, that would look incredible. Look, I know he's more of one of the like later characters in terms of the beginning of Mortal Kombat. He came out a little bit later. He wasn't in the first couple games, but I've always loved Kenshi. I've always loved playing as him, so he's one character I'd like to see. Maybe he's not everyone's like top character before it's a big one for me. The next one I think is a must. Maybe you'll agree is Baraka.
Yeah, definitely. Baraka, I think, is just the way that he looks, the way that he just
he's ferocious, dude.
Yeah, you need him, and I think there's a. You kind of look at like Outworld sort of like characters. You're talking about like Reptile and about like sort of like these more creatures, if you want to call it that. And I mean, Baraka is obviously, he's part of a race there, but it kind of like, it's something unique, something like, almost like a fantasy sort of element that brings to it. I think like a character like Baraka is perfect for that.
Nah, he is. And he's I don't know, he's just like, he's so brutal, man. Can you imagine the stuff that he ended up doing to people? Yeah, he used to freak me out as a kid, like watching I didn't pick him because I was scared of him. That's how much his character freaked me out. And then the last one, which I think is a big one, like it has to happen. We only saw a statue in the first film, is Shao Khan.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, Shao Khan. Shao Khan is, I can pretty much guarantee that he will appear. Like, I don't know how much influence he will have in the movie because obviously, Shang Tsung still basically needs to host a tournament, but I'm pretty certain that Shao Khan is going to be like probably towards the end, or he's going to be watching the tournament from a distance. But I'm pretty certain that he will appear. And did you see what Ed Boon tweeted the other day of who he wants to play like Shao Khan? The Rock, Dwayne Johnson.
Oh,
Dwayne Johnson, dude. And I'm like, I can actually see that. I can see Dwayne Johnson. Can you imagine him in that
massive
get-up? In that get-up and like swinging the hammer. Oh, dude, that would be amazing.
What's the fatality where he hits the head through the ass or something?
Yeah, like you can imagine.
I want to see that.
And I mean, you can actually imagine like somebody like Dwayne Johnson like doing something like that, and capturing
so much fun, dude.
The comedy of it as well, whilst the action element. Oh man, like he would be amazing for that role. I won't lie, that would be the ultimate casting. So yeah, I get
incredible.
No, Shao Kahn
that's me. All right, let's turn it over to you.
Okay, so first one is I'm gonna say you mentioned her earlier, but I definitely think she's necessary as Katana because for me. Yeah, Katana is very important because obviously she's Melina's sister, or Melina's a clone, or whatever else you want to say. And Katana's always been very closely tied to Liu Kang's arc in like Mortal Kombat.
Yes.
Because she's also obviously, Shao Kahn's daughter, and Sindal's her mother, and she's been very tied like to the whole Mortal Kombat sort of universe. And I found especially what they did with her in the first movie, from 95, the original movie, I found it was quite an interesting arc for her. How she ended up helping Earth's Realm and against Outworld. And I always found her role was very important. And I always found Katana to be like a super interesting character. And I think that I missed her, to be honest, in the first movie. I was like, why did you include Melina? Where's Katana? I was mad, dude. Like, yeah, it's like, it's just
Melina's kind of a slightly smaller character out of the two.
Well, I mean, they're kind of, you see them together. They're very important, but I mean, they introduced them like both at the same time in Mortal Kombat 2, like back in the game, the game that came out like all those years ago. And you kind of thought to yourself, all right, cool. Well, they introduced it to them. Surely you would bring them both into
one with the other, yeah.
But I mean, they did the same thing in like Mortal Kombat, like the 95 movie as well. They introduced Katana, but Melina was like, she's gone, dude. Like no one knows where she's at. She's like chilling at home watching Netflix. No one knows. So for me, Katana is definitely a character that I want to see. Like she is an absolute must. So Katana, I'm saying right now, I want to see her. Now,
so what you're saying is you want the second one to be a love story. There's space for a love story in Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, look, it's not necessarily just that, but look, it would be interesting to see that, to see it like included. I'm not going to say no. It's obviously would be very interesting and add a little bit of a different dimension to Liu Kang.
Spice, for sure.
Something else, just a little bit more. So I definitely like to see that. The other character that I'm going to go for here is an obvious one. We saw the tease. We saw at the end. It's Johnny Cage. And I think, it's confirmed. It's confirmed. I think, no matter what, everyone knows. Johnny Cage is definitely going to be in the second movie. At the same time, though, I do wonder who is going to be playing Johnny Cage. We've all heard the rumors, from Ryan Reynolds to Scott Adkins to Charlie Hunnam. Everybody's like under the sun has been mentioned, and
it's such big shoes to fill.
Yeah, but I mean, I think this is what I was going to say earlier, like when we were discussing Cole Young. I think Cole will be overshadowed as a character once Johnny Cage steps up, because obviously I think he'll probably be more the comedic element. And this is why I say I don't necessarily want Kano back, because if Johnny Cage and Kano have the same sort of shtick, it kind of makes it boring. Like both characters.
That's overwhelming, like competing for the same spot kind of thing.
Yeah, all right. And I think that's the thing with Cage. You kind of know he's going to be doing that. She's like, "Whoa, what's happening? This isn't a movie. You guys lied to me." What's going on? So I can kind of see him, doing that and making an influence in the movie. So for me, Johnny Cage is an absolute must. I think it will happen. I don't think there's going to be any doubt here, because if it doesn't happen for the second time, like, fans are going to rage, because already as it is, they rage in the first movie. And then the final character that I'm going to choose is one that I want to see, but it's more of a case of a setup for a third movie versus him having a massive influence in this movie, is Quan Chi.
Okay. I thought you were going to say Quan Chi. I was going to say, can I guess it? But I was like, no, let me not, just in case I'm wrong. Dude, love Quan Chi.
Quan Chi is because he is like, he's devious and you can't really trust him. And I can kind of see, for example, like it playing out, like Shang Tsung is telling, Shao Khan, that everything's going according to plan, and don't worry, Outworld is going to come out on top. And then you've got little Quan Chi like whispering in, Shao Khan's ear, I don't think it's going to happen that way, and he's like, obviously trying to like twist, Shao Khan's arm. Then right at the end, boom, it hits you, and it shows that Quan Chi's actually not in Shao Khan's corner either. He's actually in Shinnok's corner. So that's the other character that can come in the third film. But it kind of shows, like, you can kind of lay out, like, already, like, the next big villain. Because I think, obviously, the danger we have here is, like, we can't have, Shang Tsung in 3 movies, and we can't necessarily have, Shao Khan just being the big bad of the second one, then the big bad of the third one. So you need to, like, lay it out a little bit more. So I feel like Shinnok will probably be one of the big villains of the third movie if it ever gets made. But Quan Chi will be pivotal to getting us to Shinnok.
Yeah. He's always been such a mastermind kind of thing. And you'd think like, oh, he'll just be another sorcerer, like when he arrived, because you'd think that position's already filled by Shang Tsung. But no, like I remember being shocked and horrified when, spoiler if you played the PS2 game of, I think it was Deadly Alliance, where, he was pivotal in killing Liu Kang, snapping his neck. And I was just like a little kid, dude. That shook me to the core. And I never forget this dude's face. And I was like, screw this guy. So yeah. Yeah, dude, like I also think he's there's a big opportunity to bring someone just absolutely evil and someone who's just like conniving and who like double crosses even the shitty people. Like it's so good.
Exactly. And the thing is also, like, at the same time, you can kind of address the whole beef between Sub-Zero and Scorpion, because Quan Chi was behind all of that anyways. So you can kind of address them. So you can kind of, bring it full circle, get them on the same page, Subby and Scorpion, and say to them, hey guys, this was the dude who set up this whole thing. He's actually the one to blame. So like, freeze him, set him on fire, do whatever you want to him, because he's the one that you should blame for everything that went
he's pulling the strings.
Exactly. So I think for me, like, he's quite an important character. And what really upsets me the most is that we never actually saw Quan Chi in the original movies. To be fair though, he wasn't really introduced in the Mortal Kombat universe yet. He only, I think, pitched up, and I think it was Mortal Kombat 4, but he was actually included as he was supposed to be included in Mortal Kombat Annihilation. They actually went and shot the scene with, like, it was this actor, like this extra, that was just supposed to appear in the background, and you're supposed to set up like a third movie. But then what ended up happening is, I think they didn't get the footage processed in time for when the movie went so they were like, okay, just cut it, it's gone, And there's actually photos out there on, like, I think some of the DVD covers and stuff like that. You can actually see the actor dressed up as like Quan Chi, and it was like, where's this character? He's not in the movie. So obviously they got the stuff printed, but they just never got like the footage approved with all the grading and everything like that. So they just left it, and it kind of goes to show like what chaos like Mortal Kombat Annihilation was. That they couldn't even get the footage.
I'm gonna go Google this. This is amazing. I'm gonna go check it out.
Go check out the images. Like, there are images of this dude like dressed up as like Quan Chi. The plan though was that this actor wasn't going to play him in the third movie. He was just supposed to appear from a distance so they see him, and it was set up, and then another actor would play the You know, like Quan Chi, because from what I heard, this actor didn't even he couldn't even speak English. He was like a Thai extra on the set. So
okay, so it was just supposed to like kind of Easter egg him.
Yeah, exactly. So that was the whole point behind it. Yeah. So I think that's that's going to be the main thing. You know, like it's going to be interesting to see what happens. And I think Quan Chi would definitely be a really cool character to bring in because of his history with everything.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited to see what happens there. But yeah, man, I mean, it's exciting times. Mortal Kombat 2, I don't know when it's coming out, though. I mean, obviously it won't come out this year. Would it come out next year? I don't think so. I'm thinking, I don't know. I think 2024. That's what I'm leaning
2024. Towards. I'm going to go ahead and say 2023 because I'm an optimist.
Because
late 2023.
If the script is still being written, obviously, I don't think they have a director in place yet. If it's still being written, so you've already hired the writer. You need to give him a couple of weeks, months to write the script, because this isn't advertising where they'll ask for it from you for the next day, basically. Please give us your film script. Client wants it right now. So this is going to be one of those things where they are going to say, okay, you've got 2-3 months. And I know that Jeremy Slater is pretty busy with Moon Knight and all that stuff. So he's got a lot on his plate. So I don't necessarily think it's going to be someone who can just turn over a script. Oh yeah, here it's overnight or whatever. Yeah. So I think they'll give him a couple months probably to turn it in, and then they'll hire a director. I don't know if they're going to bring back Simon McCoy from the first movie or if they're going to go with somebody else. But yeah, they'll still need to get that team in place. So realistically, even if they aim to start shooting by the end of the year, which is most likely, it's still going to fall over into next year. And unless they release it really late at the end of next year, I see it more like early 2023. That's just my gut feel. No, it's not early 2023.
24. Yeah. 24, yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, look, I know story-wise, it should be picking up right after the last one, right? That's kind of what needs to happen. So I think they'll probably obviously go as quick as possible. Again, the actors are all fully grown, so you don't have to worry about them looking too different.
It's not Fuller House, so you don't have to worry about it. Or Stranger Things.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting. So I'd say 2024. But look, until then, I'm sure we're going to have a lot of news to discuss. I mean, I'm pretty certain when the casting for Johnny Cage happens, we're going to be discussing if it's right or if it's wrong.
Oh, yeah, dude. As and when things drop, we'll be on it.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, the people online are going to be upset no matter what. We know that. Twitter's going to hate it. Why didn't you do this one? Why didn't you do that? So we're going to be here discussing.
We'll be there with our popcorn.
Exactly. But yeah, thanks again for joining me, Lois, and to everyone else out there listening. It's been really cool. It's always fun to talk about Mortal Kombat. We really love chatting about it. It's just one of our favorite topics.
I don't get tired of it.
No, I actually think we need to change this podcast name to The Fortress of Combat. Seriously. I'm going to change it, The Fortress of Combat. And, we just won't tell Jared about it. And we're just going to keep it on the down low. And if you guys know about it, just don't say anything. If you see the logo change or anything, just keep quiet and tell your friends, no, go listen to The Fortress of Combat. But yeah, as always, let us know what you thought of the episode, and do like, share, and subscribe. And we'll chat to you soon again, and hopefully it'll be about more Mortal Kombat. Thanks again. Till later.
Bye.